Space exploration has progressed from what we might consider an adventure to the fastest means of transportation. NASA, SpaceX, and Blue Origin have taken major risk and had their fingers burned in order to make space transportation a reality rather than just a theory. A great deal of advanced research has been invested in the space sector, and technology has made it extremely successful. Consider the Starship, the Raptor engine, and even the catching arms, all of these technological concepts that we never imagined could exist in the real world a few years ago. But Elon Musk has made it possible, especially in terms of realizing his dreams of humans dominate space and Mars. In today's video, we will reveal all possible space flights that has been scheduled to be launched in 2022. Kindly stick around and watch this video from the beginning to the end to learn more about the flights. You may want to watch any of these flights when they go live. This is Tech Space. If you're new here, we specially invite you to join many of our lovely fans. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. It motivates us to produce more fantastic content like this, and you'll have a lifetime access to all of our high-end tech videos. Let's give thanks to whatever source Elon Musk has gotten all his ideas of developing the Starship which physically works, rather than what is shown in animation videos. Perhaps other space companies were challenged by SpaceX's victory, which is why just recently, Roscosmos, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic have completed several successful test flights to space and returned safely. So right now, space companies have gained some confidence in launching rockets into space without fear of explosion or the unknown. Here are some of the space flights that will take place in 2022. The first we'll look at is the launch of SpaceX's first orbital Starship into space. In the beginning of this year, SpaceX intends to launch a Starship into orbit for the first time, with up to a dozen test flights following in 2022. It will be an exciting moment for us here at TechSpace to see the Starship successfully launch above the Earth's atmosphere. The Starship vehicle and its Super Heavy booster are now finished, and the launch pad and the tower at the company's South Texas launch site are expected to be completed anytime soon. If everything goes as planned, the first flight will place Starship in orbit for a short time before re-entering Earth's atmosphere and splashing down in the Pacific Ocean. Another is the private astronauts fly to International Space Station with Axiom Space. SpaceX intends to send astronauts into space in 2022 with the Houston-based company Axiom Space on a private mission to the International Space Station. The Axiom Mission 1, or AX-1, is now scheduled to launch on February 28, 2022. The AX-1 crew is made up of 4 astronauts. They are former NASA astronauts Michael Lopez Allegra, Larry Connor, Mark Pathy, and Eitan Stybee. The trip will most likely last 8 days at the station and 2 days traveling. While tourists have previously visited the space station, Axiom claims that it will be the first ever fully private trip to the station. The crew intends to conduct 25 microgravity experiments focused on science, education, and outreach. NASA also approved a second Axiom crewed mission to the space station. The mission will be known as AX-2, and it is currently scheduled to launch from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida near the end of 2022. Axiom has partnered with SpaceX to launch 4 crewed missions to International Space Station using Crew Dragon capsules and Falcon 9 rockets. Up next is landing on Moon by Houston's Intuitive Machines. The robotic Nova-C lunar lander, built by Houston-based Intuitive Machines, will launch the NASA-sponsored flight in early 2022 atop SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. SpaceX postponed the Nova-C launch, which was previously scheduled for 2021. The mission will carry 5 NASA commercial lunar payload services, as well as several other commercial payloads, including a small rover from the British company Spacebit, which will be the first mission for the United Kingdom to the lunar surface. The Nova-C spacecraft will attempt to land on the Moon's Mare Serenitatis and deliver payloads to the surface in order to send data back to Earth. The solar-powered lander can operate for approximately 14 days. Another launch is NASA's SLS Mega Rocket launch's first Moon mission. NASA has once again postponed the launch of its Space Launch System, a 332-foot tall rocket that will be used for future Moon missions. The rocket is currently being tested at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, with the Orion spacecraft mounted on top to ensure that the spacecraft and the rocket components are properly communicating with ground systems. The first SLS mission, Artemis 1, an uncrewed lunar flyby, is scheduled to launch in March. NASA is looking for possible launch windows between the 12th and 27th of March and the 8th and 23rd of April. After this test, The rocket will go through a wet dress rehearsal where propellant will be added to the rocket's fuel tanks. If everything goes as planned, NASA will provide an exact launch date for the much-anticipated uncrewed Artemis 1 mission to the moon and back, a significant step toward NASA's goal of landing humans on the moon by 2025. Up next is Starliner's second uncrewed test mission. The rescheduled second uncrewed Orbital Flight Test 2, also known as OFT-2, of the Starliner spacecraft will take place no earlier than May 2022, according to Boeing and NASA. The first Starliner orbital test flight, which launched into space in 2019, encountered a number of problems and did not reach the International Space Station as planned due to software issues. Boeing and NASA announced that the Starliner spacecraft software has been recertified for the OFT-2 mission, which will take place in May. While the OFT-2 mission was originally scheduled to launch to space station in March 2021, it was repeatedly postponed throughout the year due to issues discovered during pre-launch checks. Around August last year, valve issues on the Starliner spacecraft was discovered during the last launch window. Boeing now intends to launch the Starliner spacecraft atop a ULA Atlas V rocket in May 2022, subject to the spacecraft's readiness and the schedule of other vehicles visiting the space station at the time. Up next is the Europe's JUICE launch. The Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer JUICE mission of the European Space Agency is set to launch in May 2022 and arrive at the gas giant in 2029. Astronauts will spend at least 3 years studying Jupiter's system, including 3 of its largest moons: Ganymede, Europa, and Callisto. The exciting moment when James Webb will come online. After decades of development and several delays, the James Webb Space Telescope made its historic launch on December 25, 2021. However, it will take about 6 months to fully integrate all of Webb's systems and instruments, with 50 major deployments and 178 release mechanisms planned before the telescope can be fully assembled. As a result, NASA's largest and most powerful space science telescope, the $10 billion James Webb Space Telescope, is set to begin regular science operations in late summer 2022. If all goes well, the telescope will spend the next 5 to 10 years studying the universe's first stars and galaxies, as well as the atmospheres of nearby alien planets. And another flight is ULA's first Vulcan rocket launch. We will witness United Launch Alliance to launch its brand new Vulcan Centaur rocket for the first time in 2022. The Vulcan Centaur rocket is the replacement for ULA's Atlas IV and Delta V rockets. The new booster will gradually replace the Russian-made engines that powered ULA's long-running Atlas line with Blue Origin-built engines. The launch was originally scheduled for 2021, but it was postponed due to the supply chain issues for the Peregrine lander. The Peregrine lander will transport Japan's first moon rover, Yaoki, built by the Japanese company Daimon. NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services program is funding the mission. Up next is Russia lunar landing mission at South Pole. Russia planned moon mission has also been delayed until July 2022. The Luna 25 mission is the country's first mission to the moon's surface in 45 years, and it will be the first to land on the lunar South Pole. Luna 25 was originally scheduled to launch in October 2021 from the Russian Vostochny Cosmodrome on a Soyuz Tu-1B Fregat rockets. However, the mission was postponed due to problems with the spacecraft's landing system discovered during critical tests. As a result, more time will be required to complete successful trials of the Luna 25's soft landing system. The spacecraft will carry 9 instruments when the mission launches. The spacecraft will land at the moon's south pole to study the regolith and exosphere. NASA and other space agencies are considering crewed moon missions in the future for this region. Between the 1950s and the 1970s, the Soviet Union launched several unmanned missions to the moon. Other space flights scheduled for this year includes the Falcon Heavy Psyche mission, India's Gaganyaan uncrewed test flights, the debut of Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket, Juno flying by Europa, DART impacting Didymos in September, the ExoMars rover Rosalind Franklin launching, NASA's Prime 1 mission launching in December, and Dream Chaser cargo missions. We hope that all these launches are successful, and we wish all of the crew members who will be on board a safe and a sound landing. Which of these launches would you like to see for yourself? Please do share your thoughts in the comment section below. Until next time, please like, share, subscribe, and while you're still around, why don't you click on one of those flashing videos on the screen for more content?